Hey guys, Uncle Ray, welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. You know guys, my goal in starting this channel has always to get people in a group that actually make money. Over 90% of people are going to lose money. Now, I want to just rant away, talk about where we are right now, kind of my game plan and the way I see the remainder of this cycle playing out. And we're going to take a look at a really serious couple of charts, and then we'll go from there. But I want to give you some alpha along the way. Now, I don't always tell you what you want to hear. And guys, I know a lot of times things sound like FUD and they're negative. But the reality is, guys, most people have had a bad game plan and are getting absolutely wrecked. Now, I personally know about 25 people that have made life-changing gains in crypto. And the point about that is they had a good strategy and they have been taking profits along the way very aggressively. And right now, I don't think anyone can argue the fact that this is a different cycle. No matter whether you think it's extended, it's over, or whatever, but the big boys are here. Now, I want you to think about something, guys. You know, I've traded on and off for many, many years. And when you're trading the stock market and you make like 30% in a day, that's mind-blowing. We've gotten really spoiled. Well, I believe one of the biggest things that have happened in the crypto, outside of it being non-regulated and players like Binance just manipulate and make all the money, is that the players' mentality is different. Because guys, you got to think about it. Wall Street players are here. Some of the most intelligent traders on the planet. And they roll into crypto and it's free money. And if, let's say, someone has been trading on Wall Street for years and years and have all these combinations of strategies, and they start with $1 million every morning, and they jump into any token, and it starts to pump, and everyone gets excited, and they just start using that liquidity to get out. And at the end of the day, whatever token pumped 30% and they called it, guys, they made $300K. They're not sitting there waiting to turn that million into 5 million, hodling and putting it at risk. Because as we know, the longer you hold these altcoins, the more they bleed. Hodling is bizarrely crazy. Good luck to you hodlers, because guys, this is just crypto. It's not stocks. They're more like commodities. They're not going to change the world. The tech is going to change the world, but most of these altcoins don't make any money. They are not stocks, and they don't have any value outside of the speculation. And it's just software and code. It's open source, and Wall Street, the banks, and everyone have a different game plan. Just keep that in mind. All right, let's look at the crypto bubbles. Most things are down, but I want to go and show you something real quick and give you some alpha of how crazy this cycle has become. Now, alchemy was up about 30 something percent. Now, we have it as a short alert in our inner circle, but I want to show you that something, whether you want to learn the short or not, and we'll talk about it at the end. Guys, this is today, not yesterday, not all month, today. This thing started right here, right at like 13 cents. And then it just dumped all the way down to like 8 cents. So all these people, every one of them that's trading on leverage, which 80 to 90% of everyone stopped buying spot or using leverage, almost every one of them, you know, their stops got wiped out. And then what happened? It went straight to the moon. These people that made this happen, the manipulators, bought it back at 8 cents. It ran all the way up to 16, 17 cents. And then they dumped it again. And now they're taking it back up. And if it gets up to that blue line, we'll be shorting it hard from there. But that just shows you guys the mentality of these traders are different. The game has changed. I don't see anything going to pump 10, 15% and give most people their money back. You need to be grabbing handfuls along the way when these things pump, even if you put in 10 and you're down to $1,500. When it gets back up to 3, you might want to start taking profits. You may not consider those profits, but if you just start every day different, which are new, which is what I do, you look at it a lot different. Because the odds are, if you've taken 10,000 and you've turned it into 15, for it to get back to 10, we're going to have a bull run. And I think we are going to have a bull run, guys. I want to be clear, and stay with me. We're going to look at some charts. But, guys, I don't think this bull run is just going to be across the board explosive, and if you bought the top, you're getting your money back. I really don't. And I hate to say that, but hey, at least you can, if you know and you agree, you can get a different game plan. Maybe learn to short or something like that. All right, I got to give a shout out to Gareth Soloway, because this is one of his charts. I couldn't format mine like this, so I used his. And guys, if you don't listen to Garrett, he's one of the best I've ever seen. Now, I don't always agree at all with Gareth because he just uses TA. And I use fundamentals, and if my TA lines up with my fundamentals, I think you got something. But I want to make it very clear. I can't be more bullish about Bitcoin. I don't think we've been living good enough to let Bitcoin go back down to 75,000 and people, the average person, start stacking at 75. I don't see that happening. I hope it does. But the tailwind around the world, and I could go on for hours, that's behind Bitcoin, I don't see there's any stopping it. And any pullback is a gift. That being said, I believe this is probably the cycle, and I thought it was going to be the next cycle, that Bitcoin separates itself, and that they're going to start, altcoins are going to start acting totally different than Bitcoin. You're going to maybe see Bitcoin go to the moon and altcoins barely go up, and maybe even some go down. Now, some may keep pace. That's just my opinion. But again, I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin. But altcoins, I'm just going to stack certain projects. And when they get up 30, 40, 70%, guys, I'm out unless there's something changing that makes me want to hold. But even then, I'm going to take out my initial investment. I'm going to be 10x more aggressive taking profits, because I think that's what the smart money whales are all doing. And you don't have to be a whale to think like a whale. And guys, if you understand how they think, then you'll understand the manipulation, and maybe things will make sense to you and you can get on the right side of the flow of making profits. All right, look at this, guys. This is others. Pretty much the altcoins, the average altcoin against Bitcoin. Guys, this is the top of 2021. We haven't had any altcoin season to speak of whatsoever. The best was in November after the election, but everything for the most part has bled since 2021, and we haven't seen anything. Now, you could argue that we're trying to find a bottom, but that's not the first time. I think we can go lower all the way to this bottom line. That's Ben Cohen talking about going home, and he called it correctly on Ethereum. When Ethereum went home, it took off. So there is a chance the altcoins have to go home all the way to this line, or somewhere in the middle, which you could say it's already been to that line, the bottom's in, and then we could still go higher. Now, are we in a bull run? I still believe we are. Definitely Bitcoin is. Is the cycle still intact? Can we still have an altcoin season? Absolutely. I believe that we are going to have an altcoin season just because the big boys that have made so much money with like Bitcoin are going to take some of their profits and go play around in altcoins. It's just too easy. But I don't believe there's going to be enough juice across the board to pump all these altcoins back up to where everyone gets their money back and then a 15x. I just don't see that happening. Maybe 10, 20 altcoins do something like that, maybe even 40 or 50, but they're probably going to be rotating in and out just like we've seen, right? Just last week, you had like ICP, Arweave, and Filecoin, and everybody's like, here we go, right? We shorted those, by the way, in our inner circle, but they just all disappeared and gave most of it back. That's the game, guys, and you got to learn to play it. I don't like it either. It's extremely harder to be in crypto than I ever thought about. Now, let's talk about the stable coins. Guys, this is the USDT dominance. Look, this was after the election. This is people putting the money into crypto. The good news is the people haven't left. There's still a ton of money sitting on the side in altcoins waiting to deploy. So what you want to see is this going down. That is people taking money off the side, their dry powder going into the markets. But as you can see, most people are getting into stablecoins right now. Not a lot of buying. You're going to want to see this turn around and turn red and start to go down. But as we know, it could happen like that. You just really have to continue whatever your strategy is. And if it's not working, maybe get a better strategy. That being said, guys, you know, if you watch this channel, I short about 75% of the time, and I'm starting to short almost every day. And I believe that's the most consistent, best way to make money in crypto. And when you get in the bear market, guys, it's going to get really exciting for people that learn to short. Now, that being said, I created a shorting course, has 13 videos, goes from A to Z, walks you into everything you need to know. Then you get a Zoom call with me and you get 5 months of my inner circle, all for only $250. And that's as low as I can go to justify my time. But I want to build the most knowledgeable, most successful shorting community in crypto, period. So if you want to learn to short, reach out. Now, that being said, if you need some help changing your strategy and need someone to walk through your portfolio with you, I have a portfolio course, has 18 videos. And the reason that's important is that answers a ton of questions that you would have from A to Z. How to get a game plan that meets your risk reward, how to compare these projects, how to understand tokenomics, market cap, how to dollar cost average in and out, and get a game plan. So you get the trading course, a Zoom call, 5 months of my inner circle, all for $250. Or you can just join my inner circle. That being said, guys, whether you take me up on that or not, and I'll leave my email pinned in the comment section and in the description, and reach out. But whether you take me up on that or not, guys, do yourself a favor. Get a game plan. Start zooming out. Try to understand how the smart money and the manipulation works. Therefore, you can capitalize on it. And if you're looking to hodl, guys, please go watch the Fed Crypto Payment Innovation Summit. Because Wall Street and the banks are here, and they don't need much help, guys. They got a game plan, and when you compare it to some of the stories you've been hearing, these altcoins aren't even in the game. Most of them are not relevant. At best, they get their share. But because of the tokenomics and you getting dumped on, they can't grow fast enough to outrun the bad supply, the bad tokenomics, and the insiders and the companies and the foundations from dumping on us. So that being said, guys, if the majority were right, the majority would be rich. So keep that in mind. Hit the like button. Let me know what you think in the comments. And either way, guys, come back and be part of this community, because we're going to fight till the very end, and then we're going to go short. Take care.